All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Module 3. Really important module. Listen, there's two parts of any business that are absolutely necessary if you want to be successful. You have to have traffic, so people actually know about your product, and you have to have conversions, so people actually buy the product. If you have those two things, you can figure out pretty much anything. A side hustle can become enormously huge if you have those two things in place. I do traffic a little bit different than other people. I'm going to show you specifically what I do. I actually do run most of the campaigns myself. I've hired people who are $20,000 a month minimum, and some have been good, some have been bad, but I found it's really best to know this stuff yourself. First off, it saves a lot of money. I mean, who wants to spend 20 grand a month? And yes, you can find people for cheaper, but regardless. And then two, it's, this is like the lifeblood of your business. So if you understand how to do this and you get good at it and you do it well, then you can scale proportionately huge. So I think it's a great skill to know as a business owner. Of course, you can outsource anything that you don't like. Here's the other thing. I love trying to figure this stuff out. I love diving in there in Facebook ads and Google ads and sweating it and figuring out all this stuff. As you'll see, you're going to see me doing it here. So if that's something that you like, that's great. If it's not, of course, you can outsource it, but it is not the cheapest thing. All right, so let's talk about traffic suppliers. Where are you going to buy traffic? What companies are you going to buy it from? Well, you probably already thought this, Facebook ads. And a lot of people hear that and they're like, Facebook's kind of dead, but they also own WhatsApp, they own Instagram, so they definitely have a huge market share of social media. But the interesting thing about Facebook is they've gotten so good that as soon as you have just a few conversions, they'll go find other people like that, and it's just like set it and forget it, kinda, not really. I'll tell you why in a second. It seems great, right? They'll go and crush it, but you have to refresh the ads a lot because people get ad blindness when they see the same ad. Think about it. When you're on Facebook or Instagram, you see the same ad 3 or 4 times, you start getting kind of sick of seeing that ad. You're not going to click on it. So that's the one kind of negative part of Facebook, but man, their targeting is insane. It's really, really something else. The next one probably doesn't surprise you. It's Google. Their traffic platform is called Google AdWords. I've spent over $1 million with Google over the years. Works extremely well. That is more set it and forget it. And I'll tell you why. So Google is going to primarily be on websites, right? Or your ad is going to show on different people's website, maybe CNN or something like that, or in search. In both of those cases, unlike Facebook, it's a rotating influx of new people. So let's say that you type in something about wanting to convert a document. Okay, if you do it one time in your own Google, you're going to see some ads, and then you're going to learn how to do that, and then you're done. You're not going to be going back and searching that again, unlike Facebook, where they're going to be targeting the same person over and over. So it's two different strategies with each one. I really like Google AdWords for YouTube. If you can crush it on YouTube, I had one video that got over 10 million views on YouTube, 10 million views on Facebook ads, selling a book in the game development marketing space. And it just absolutely crushed it. And it was more set it and forget it. Like they just went out and just found new people, right? So Google's good for that. Facebook is really interesting because it converts extremely well, but you have to refresh those ads. Then after you've nailed down Facebook and Google, there are other companies you can scale out to. I don't recommend doing it. Maybe you never even need to, all right? I have used a lot of these companies. There's a couple I haven't. I'll walk through all of them. I know some friends though that do. It really depends on your market as well. But Facebook and Google is enough to get you going for sure, and probably enough forever. So a lot of people just stick with those two, but I'm going to go over those other ones as well. So let's start with Facebook ads. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this is my Facebook account, and this is going to be interesting because my previous Facebook account that I used with BuildBox, the game development company I started, that one, I think we spent around $600,000. Now, that account I can't show because I sold the company, right? So I don't own that account anymore, so I can't show that, and we still run ads in there, so obviously can't be showing that. But this is even going to be more fun because this is something that most people don't do. And I wish I could say I came up with this myself. I actually stole this idea from Tim Ferriss because this is what he did. But I'm going to walk you guys through this new account. I've spent about $500, and you're going to see the results I got are absolutely crazy, really great results. And this is how I came up with the name for this book that you bought, The 15 Side Hustle Habits. All right, because that was not the original name at all. It was going to be called Side Start. That was the name I wanted to use. I actually kind of thought Side Hustle was a little bit cheesy, but I knew it was more recognizable, so I was kind of hoping that wouldn't win. And as you'll see, it was just going to be called Side Hustle. And then I kept on adding different things. Now, really quick, where did I come up with like these initial books? Well, you know what, we'll walk through it and then I'll talk about it because it's really interesting why the 15 side hustle habits worked. And I think you'll be interested to see. But I do know why. All right, so this is phase one. You can see this is my first one right here. It's phase one, entrepreneur. This means I was going after just entrepreneur in general. So I was targeting extremely wide. If we click over here, we'll see that it was 3 different books. Now, let's see if I click on these, and I think edit should do this, then we can actually see the ad here. Okay, so this first one here was called Get Started. Now again, how did I come up with this great looking ad? Well, that was from Canva. I didn't do anything. I didn't make that. I got the book design from Canva. I got everything from Canva. And I actually used a piece of software called Cover Action Pro to make this book in Photoshop. You could hire someone to do that as well if you want to make a book, but I did use this software to make a cool looking cover. And I probably need to buy this because they're updated and they have really good looking, great mock-ups. This stuff looks super professional. So that's how I made that. All the design was from Canva. I didn't do it myself. And then I did make this book cover. So the first one was going to be Get Started. The second one was going to be Side Start. That's the one I was hoping that would win. And then the third one was Side Hustle. Now, if we go back here, we can see the data on this, and we can see that Side Start was getting 70 cents per click, which honestly is really good. This is extremely wide. If we go here, I'm going to go back to the ad set. Now, if you don't know how Facebook works, you have a campaign. This is going to be the base campaign. Then you're going to have an ad set. You can have multiple ad sets. And then here you can have different targeting, okay? And then you have your actual ads. All right, so here's what an ad set does. If I go to edit here, I'll show you that here it's called Book Split Test. And I'm going after, in this case, I just went after male 20 to 55, kind of randomly. Interest was entrepreneurship, that was it. This was a potential reach of 22 million people, decided to start in the US first. And then I did manual placements, and I chose to do the Facebook news feed, the Instagram feed, and I think that's it. I did an article that was probably an accident, to be honest with you. I like to start off just going in the news feeds to kind of see where it's at. And then if it's something that I'm really trying to get conversions on and not just trying to figure out what's going to be, in this case, I want to see just what's the best name. That was it. But if it was something I was trying to get conversions on, then I would slowly branch out, and I would do that through new ad sets. All right. I would not actually go and edit this ad set. I would do it through new ones. All right. So let's go back here. And listen, if some of this stuff is complicated, I totally get it. When you actually hit create new and walk through and set up an ad, it really makes a lot of sense. It's not too difficult. So let's go back to the split test. So Side Start, if we look here, the click-through rate was 0.73%. All right. Now look at that. It ended up having 11 clicks, 70 cents cost per click, which is actually pretty good. Your goal is to be at least 1%. That's your goal. You want at least 1%. That's like the cutoff. So this wouldn't be good enough. Now, Get Started down here, it did 1.11%. That's not too bad. Now, why is it 89 cents a click? That probably would have gone down. That's just because I didn't run it very long, because it was just immediately not as good as the other one. And then Side Hustle, as you can see, just crushed it. $1.89%. And of course, they gave the multitude of traffic there. Oh, by the way, they also have a relevance score. You can see the relevance score. This is how relevant it is to the audience that you selected. So for entrepreneurs, you can see it was 6 here and 4 here. That's probably why the increase was there. But a lot of times this will change as people interact with it more. So maybe more people clicked on it, or more people commented on Side Start than they did on Get Started, or some sort of reason that they thought that was good. Hey, maybe they actually just even looked at the ad text, right? But for here, by far the best. But here's what's interesting. So this one, the highest one, 0.89 cents per click, almost $1 a click, versus 30 cents. We're talking about, that's 1/3 of the price. So imagine if I'm going out and I'm trying to buy traffic and someone else is paying 89 cents a click, I'm paying 30 cents a click. I can absolutely crush them, right? Because I can buy the traffic, the lion's share of the traffic. So I did not actually stop there. Then I wanted to go check out influencers. And this was famous influencers in the business market. I said, let's see if I see the same results again. So again, Get Started did not get any traction. Side Start got a little bit better, 1.25% with influencers. This would be like Gary Vaynerchuk or famous people in the business scene. Side Hustle, again, though, crushed it, 0.56. And again, 33 cents a click, which is really, really cheap. That's really good. And it's going to be dependent on your market. But if you can get well above 1%, you're going to have cheap clicks. So then I said, okay, let's also check out self-development, business opportunities. Let's just see again if this keeps going. I really wanted to drill it down. And again, Side Hustle, 2%. And this one now, it got down to 0.29 with that market. And then 47%, 1.6. Now, the reason I'm showing you guys this is your ad and what's on it. And these ads were identical. The only difference was Side Start written on there, Side Hustle, that was it. Okay? And it's a huge, huge difference. Again, I would be able to buy clicks if someone had a book they were trying to promote at the same time. I would be able to buy my clicks for a third of the price. A third of the price. That means I would get 3 times the amount of traffic by spending the same amount as them. They wouldn't be able to compete with that. So really, really important to split test things. When you're coming up with product names, when you're coming up with product ideas, this is a great idea to split test it. So then I moved over to phase 2. And this, I just combined all of those into this, all those markets, entrepreneurs, famous books, influencers, all that stuff together. And then this, I stuck with Side Hustle, but I didn't just stop there. Okay. Then I said, how can I come up with a different name like Side Hustle Startup, Side Hustle Tactics, Side Hustle Habits? All right. And this time, Side Hustle did not perform as well when I put them all together. Early stats, it could have potentially done better, but Facebook just started not giving it traffic. They're like, this other one's definitely better. And look at this. Now, this is a much wider market, so it should be worse click-through rates, to make that clear, because this was entrepreneur. This was like everything. Okay. And that one, 1.92 was Side Hustle Habits. Now, how did I come up with the name Side Hustle Habits? I went to Amazon best-selling business books, and I looked at the top 100. So we're going to try to find this now, business and leadership books. And the top ones, it's a little weird to find it. Okay, this is it. This best books of the year so far. What I found was an actual best ones right now, and it actually did take me a second to find it. But let me see if I can do that real quick, because I want to stick in this area too. So let me see if I can do that. Video real quick, so I wouldn't bore you guys there. And this is, I had to type in bestseller. So when I Googled Amazon best-selling business books, this came up. So I looked at this, and I noticed that one of the best-selling books of all time is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There was 2 things I thought about that. I was like, that's interesting that they're using numbers here. You'll notice I ended up doing that in my book. Also, the word habit. All right. Then I looked at this, Atomic Habits. Then another version of The 7 Habits here. And I kept going, and I kept seeing the word habits pop up. And I was thinking, okay, so what's the deal here? Obviously, all these people aren't using the words habits. And there's even a book somewhere on here that's just literally called Habits. And so I was like, okay, obviously this is something that that potentially works. I mean, here we're looking at 3 of the top 8 have the word habits in there, even though 2 are kind of similar. But still, regardless, that's a pretty good clue. So I tested that one. Tactics was also because I saw a book mentioned tactics. Now it's a different list than it was when I ran this. That one did not stay up really. Actually, it was the same. I think it was Jocko Willink, the same guy that did, oh, look, Another Habit's here. Look at that. Is that nuts? The guy that did Extreme Ownership. It was his new book. And then Startup, because, I live in Silicon Valley, so I just figured I'd try that as well. And then, so Habits crushed it. So then I was like, okay, I noticed that this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, I went through and I looked through, more than this, the whole entire list, and I saw numbers popping up multiple times. So I said, you know what, for the final test, let's go ahead and do one more and do 15 Side Hustle Habits versus Side Hustle Habits. And you can see, look what it got up to, 2.82%. 21 cents a click. That is insane. And this was super, super wide target. If I click here, if I go back to ad sets and we edit this, the audience the potential reach right now is showing unavailable, but it was big. It was everything. It wasn't just entrepreneur. It was all of that combined. So here I have this extremely, extremely wide market and this really high click-through rate. And then the 15 Side Hustle Habits had, 2% is insane. That was the best we had in the previous campaigns. And this one's at 2.8. So that's how I came up with the name of the book. And the reason I want to show this campaign is because Setting this stuff up is not very hard. It's very easy to do. Facebook walks you through it, but it's a great way not only to use Facebook to run traffic, but to come up with different ideas for your products. All right, so now let's talk about actually building out an ad. All right, so if we wanted to create a new ad here, and I'm going to say create, you know what, let's go back out to account overview, campaigns, and we're going to create a new campaign. And we're going to just call this test campaign. I just want to show you guys how I set stuff up, okay? So I always do auction and traffic only if you're trying to figure out a name for a product like I'm doing now. Typically, you're going to want to do conversions. Now, you're going to have some sort of pixel on your page for the conversion, all right? And I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. It's very easy to do. Okay, to track conversions, you're going to have to put in a Facebook pixel. I'll show you where to get that pixel in a second, okay? But in ClickFunnels, when you're editing a page like this, I know you guys haven't set up ClickFunnels yet, but then you would just go over here to tracking code, and then in the header, you put in your Facebook pixel, that's it. All right, and you can see you can do a purchase pixel, you can have a pixel for sign up, whatever you want to do there. Then instead of just doing traffic like I was doing, trying to get the most traffic, it will actually find the people who are buying your product and go find more people like them. Super, super important, all right? I don't do the split test here personally. You know, feel free to play around with it. Daily budget, do what you're comfortable with. You do not have to do $100. It really depends. I'll give you an example. Once I knew I had a high converting ad, I started testing as much as $100 in a day. But when I first started out, I think I did like 25 or something because I wasn't sure if it was, even going to be a decent ad. Then we'll create a new ad set. And an ad set, again, this would be, instead of my way where I had all this phase 1, phase 2, you could really do that in an ad set. I just felt like trying a whole entire new different campaign. Kind of felt like Facebook would go after, more people or something, but that's probably not even true. So this ad set, I would do it on who you're targeting. All right, so if you had a dog product, then it would be, dog breeders, maybe something like that to start this first one. A new ad, I would just call ad 001, and then I'd save it to a draft like this, okay? Then over here, this campaign's set up, but there's nothing actually in it. So you click right here. This is your campaign. Then right here, dog breeders was our ad set, and this is our first ad. So I would go here and I would choose a conversion pixel. Again, this would be like a lead or a purchase. In my case, I would do purchase. And then I would come down and then I would want to choose our audience here. I do like to start with location. I think if you can do like in the United States, I think is good. I do like to choose one gender. If you have a gender, dog would be really tough, right? So if you can do that though, if you can segment it down a little bit, it definitely helps. And then over here, let me see, custom audiences. Okay, show more options. You can also do languages. If you're going after other countries, India, stuff like that, then I think it's good if your page is in English to have English. And then detailed targeting, we could add in things like where I went after entrepreneurs. There we go, entrepreneurship. We can see this is 400 million people, so we could add that. And now we're segmenting a little bit more, and you can add in different things. But for us, dog breeders, I would type in dog breeders. Let's see if anything comes up. It does not, so that would not be what I would call this ad set. In that case, that might be too narrow. I might would go for just type in dog, and then we could go, with dog breed, maybe actually would be better. Dog training, something like that. So maybe I would call this dog services instead. Okay, and we would start there. Then also age, I would not do 18, if you're trying to sell a product necessarily. Might start at 25. A lot of 18-year-olds are not spending a lot of money on the internet. Optimization and delivery, automatic placements I would not do, like I said, to start off. I would do just Facebook, Instagram, and just go on their feeds. So that's what I would do just to start. And then I would, scale that up as I found out things were converting, like this. Then let's see, anything here? No, don't worry about devices. You can definitely do that later on, but Facebook doesn't like it when you start removing too much, so you want to be careful there. The next up, the ad, I would choose an account, which then I would choose an Instagram account, or if you don't have an Instagram account set up for your business, it'll just use a fake one. But it's better to use an actual Instagram account because you actually get followers from this by running traffic. And then I would create an ad, single image, and I would use or video, and I would add that image or video here, and that would be made from Canva, like I was telling you guys. Then you would want to do a short headline, a description. Again, look at ads. You guys have the tool to spy on ads. Look and see what successful ads with a lot of likes and stuff, how they're written. Get some ideas from that. Of course, put in your URL. Always use learn more if you're going to use a button at all. It's been tested, and that one always converts better. And then display link is optional. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. I don't worry about languages. And then, of course, the Facebook pixel, which we'll walk through now. Okay, so that's all you have to do, then publish. And then while I'm here, I usually duplicate the ad. And actually, I could have done the quick duplicate. That's a little faster right here. And then I would name this one ad 2 and put up the second image. I like to always have at least 3 images to test. All right, that's where I start. All right, then to do the Facebook pixel, like I was talking about before, you would just go to Ad Manager, and then you want to click on Events Manager. Now, if I click it, it's actually going to switch accounts, so I got it pulled up here, and you can see this is the Grow Factor account that I had set up, and here's my pixel. Now, you would not have this data right here. Instead, you would have something like this that said Get Started Setting Up Your Pixel. Then you'll click that, and you'll be able to see information about your pixel, okay? And then get that code that you can put here in the tracking code section. So that's how to set up Facebook. It's not that difficult to do. They've gotten so smart that they do all the hard work for you. A couple years ago, man, this was so difficult. And now it's really, really simple. All right, guys, so that was Facebook. Now let's talk about the other 800-pound gorilla in the room. You know what's funny? I'm gonna go ahead and say this while we're having a little private talk, just me and you. It's funny how everyone comes down on Facebook for privacy. All right, everyone's really attacked them. And now, look, interfering with political elections and stuff like that, even if you didn't mean to, I'm not saying they don't deserve it, but no one talks about Google. You guys are going to see, like, you can target down to what people are searching. Google knows everything. Like, Facebook knows what they know if you like Ed Sheeran. All right, they know if you are interested in marketing, but Google knows like your last medical search. They know everything about you. And don't think when you're an incognito that they're not tracking that too, because I have a feeling they are. I actually started to use DuckDuckGo more, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right, so we're going to dive into my Google account. Now, listen, here I'm showing you, I had to blur out a little bit of stuff. And I'm going to have to be a little careful showing. You can see in this account, I've spent 1.49 million. I've had 24 million clicks, 17 billion impressions, which is nuts. That's more than the amount of people in the world. And this is the account I use to do almost all of my traffic. I had a new account with BuildBox. I can't show that one, obviously. I am going to show you guys this one, but it's going to be more just about strategy because so much has changed with Google. So I had a very interesting thing happen about a year ago. When BuildBox was really taking off, I guess about really 2 years ago, BuildBox really started taking off, and I received an email from Google, and they said, hey, we want to help you run your ads. We're going to actually run your ads for you. We're going to do all of that for you, and we want you to work with us on a daily basis, and you're going to work with our team here in San Francisco. I said, hey, that's great. I'm in San Francisco. I'd love to do that. It's called the Google Advantage Program. And they said, okay, in order to do this, in your case, we want you to spend around $100,000 a month. And I was kind of nervous. To be honest with you, I wasn't spending that much with Google at the time. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. But we happened to have at the same time this book offer. Here, I'm going to throw the video up here now. If you happen to see this, over 40 million people, or 30 million for sure, 30 to 35, there was a bunch of variations of this video. 30 to 35 million people saw this video. It was all over YouTube. It was all over Facebook. And it was me selling a book for $5 on how to create video games. Now, people would buy that book. Just like you bought this course, I would sell BuildBox, our game development software. And that was the biggest growth thing that I found. And Google ran that for me. So the interesting thing about what I'm going to show you, this is not me like just coming up with stuff. This is what Google taught me. And we ended up spending about $300,000, not on this account, on another account, about $300,000 in about 45 to 50 days. And we crushed it. So I'm going to show you guys in my account here exactly what we did. It was all YouTube. I'll show you search. We'll walk through that. I'm just not that interested in it. This is going to be much cooler. Let's check it out. All right, guys, so here we are in Google AdWords, and I actually tried to use that old account. Apparently, it didn't transfer over as well. So I'm going to make a new one here on an old email that I have, an old Gmail account. Please don't email it. You will not get a response. That was an app company I started back at the beginning of the App Store. And actually, we did a couple downloads. But anyway, so now this is what you're going to see. When you go to Google AdWords and you add in your Gmail account, you're going to see this. And we could go through their whole wizard, but I'm going to switch to expert mode. I really don't want to have to go through that step by step. And I'll recommend you do the same. All right, so the goal here is going to be sales, obviously. That's going to be the goal here. The types of campaigns, display I'm a huge fan of, but video is what I really want to focus on. But again, it says you're going to be able to create this type of campaign after creating an account. So I'm going to choose display or search, either one. We'll do display for now. By the way, just so you guys know, super important thing to know, search is obviously search, right? If you're selling a dog, if you're selling dog food, then your search result would be something like, you would want to find people typing in dog food, new dog food, organic dog food, stuff like that, right? Display is going to be actually banners on a web page. And Google does it pretty good. This is called Google AdSense, and they do it pretty good. But this is going to be like on CNN or something like that, like some big sites. Also, a ton of small sites out there, blogs, etc. as well. Now, we're going to use both of these. I primarily like video, which is YouTube, as I mentioned before. So that's going to be the focal point here. But let's go ahead and go with search for now, or display. It really doesn't matter. We're just trying to get this setup done here. All right, and reaching the goal here for us would be website visits. I mean, technically that's not true. It would be conversions, but again, just to set this up, and we're going to say dogfood.com. Obviously, that's not going to be my site. Hopefully, they don't care about that. Create a conversion action. That would be, again, just like you saw in the previous section with Facebook, we would put this conversion action. We're going to go ahead and hit plus there, installation options, and we could email that or do it ourselves. And we would put this, again, in the same ClickFunnels section in the header there, right on the thank you page. And I do recommend you do that because the game has changed. It used to be all about your targeting. It used to be like, hey, how good are you at targeting the right people? Now it's about the conversion. And then they actually take all this mountains of data, exactly like I was complaining about with Google previously. They know so much stuff, but they can actually take, hey, people that have this issue and this problem and type this thing, and also like this person, they tend to buy this product. In that case, we want to find more people like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and click continue here. And then now we're just like finishing out and making a new campaign. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Again, let's go ahead and say that we're doing a dog food product. I think that would be fun. Let's say we invented a new organic dog food. We created this ourselves and we created the formula. We're going to ship it out from our house and we got FDA approval and all that good stuff. All right, so we're going to call this dog food. We're going to do search and display. Truth is, I really want to focus on video, but we're going to get to that next. And I would not do all countries and territories for dog food. I would definitely start with United States, Canada. The truth is, I would add in a few more. I would want to do United Kingdom, Australia, and also Ireland for sure. And then potentially going after English speakers only in Germany, in Austria, in Sweden, in Denmark. All right, so I like to hit Western Europe. They tend to have very similar cultural things if you're going for that market. All right, so if you're creating something that's more universal, like if it was an arcade stick, all right, which is something I played around with. You guys might have seen that in a previous video. And that's something that's really universal that you could sell to almost every country out there. You could do the same with dog food, but the problem is organic dog food is going to potentially be more of a Western, more of an American push. So if you find a product that is like life coaching, for example, like, I don't know how to approach life coaching in Thailand. All right. Now, and I don't hire a life coach. It's not something I'm personally passionate about, but it's a really big market here in the United States. So you want to think about your market and the influence of that market in other regions when you're choosing this. So in this case, I would choose for dog food, mainly English speaking regions, because I know that they're primarily influenced and interested in the organic market, which would be my focal point here. All right, so then again, languages, I would go ahead and choose English here. And we're going to type that in. No, I think we already got that. I would take out French, though, because if they speak French and I'm writing all my ads in English, my website's in English, then I'm not sure that's a good fit. And then audience here. Now, this is where we're going to have fun. I'm not going to even touch that here because I'm not sure of this setup, this whole like new account setup. I want to walk you guys through this so you know what to do. But at the same time, that's not where I would actually choose my audience. And we are going to do that in a minute. All right, so then budget, again, I think $50, $25, $10 a day is fine. Starting out, that's going to be up to you. Please do not spend more than you are comfortable losing, especially in the early times. This is all about collecting data and deciding exactly how this is going to work looking at it. And so the last thing in the world I'd want you to do is spend more than you're comfortable with there. All right, then bidding, conversions. We want to focus on conversions for sure. We don't want to do a target cost per action. If you do that, it's going to severely limit you. They're smart. They're not going to go out there and just blow through your budget in 5 seconds and ruin all that for you. All right, let's look at other settings here. We could actually choose what the conversion is. Ad schedule all day. All right, now, I will say this. Ad schedule is super important as you start to scale. You'll find some products sell better at certain parts of the day. And that's something to look at. So what you want to do at that point is look at conversions and say, hey, am I selling more of this product at this part? But right now we want to do it all day. Now, I'll tell you what we used to do back in the day, not to give you a back in the day talk, but seriously, back in the day, it was a lot cheaper to run ads. We would run all countries. All right, back in like 2007, when Google AdWords first came out, we would run all countries because all the clicks were super cheap, and then we would remove any country that didn't convert. You can't do it on countries. You can do it on demographics. You can do it on ad schedule. You can do it, on ad rotation. Let them optimize. All right, definitely let them optimize. They've gotten scarily good at it. But yeah, so definitely do this all day. But you might find if all of your conversions are coming at a specific time in the day, then you want to dial that down and make sure. All right, so ad extensions, don't worry about that as well. Save and continue. All right, so here's the deal. Now we're going to add some keywords for our organic dog food. So we're going to call this organic dog food. This is the first ad group that we're making. Ad group's going to be just like an ad set. In Facebook, it's going to be all about like a container where we're going to have something pretty specific. Now, the thing is, with ad sets, ad groups, Google invented this. And let me tell you what Google likes, and I do know this. They like to have your campaign name be something like dog food. And then your ad group name is something like organic dog food. Your next one is maybe vegan dog food. I don't even know if that's a thing. We're going to pretend it is. And then we will have another one be dog food performance, right? For maybe people who actually have dogs that are really pushing it hard, right? Et cetera. So each ad group would be a specific nomenclature or subset of what you're talking about. In this case, it's going to be dog food. So I'm going to do organic dog food here. And then, of course, we're going to do some basic keywords. Now, the thing that I want to talk to you guys about is when I worked with Google to sell the book I created, which was How to Create Video Games, we didn't do any keywords. It shocked me. This is how I've seen everyone do Google. But instead, we went after whole networks of people based on interest in topics. For example, people who are interested in sci-fi movies, or people who are interested in sci-fi movies also interested in making video games. And what we found is as soon as the algorithm found that, yes, there are people who like sci-fi movies, you guys notified us of that and said, hey, choose the topic sci-fi movies. It's not like they went after every single person that likes sci-fi movies. As soon as they saw a conversion, as soon as they saw some people from the sci-fi movie category actually purchase BuildBox, then they went after people more like them. Maybe it's a specific amount. Again, everyone attacks Facebook. Google literally knows every sci-fi movie that you have ever liked. Like, Facebook doesn't really know that. Like, you're not on Facebook discussing every single one, but you've probably been on IMDb. And how did you find IMDb? You probably typed the movie into Google. So they literally have all that data. So they will compile all of that and find the right people to sell your product. Yeah, I know. It goes both ways. All right. So, anyways, so we could type in some different keywords here. I'm going to throw some in here. Obviously, this wouldn't be all related to the organic dog food. Even, what I think would be a good one would be a healthy dog. All right. I think that would be better than organic. I think that would be too narrow. So, if we wanted to do that for fun, we could say organic dog food, healthy dog exercise, type in some things, and then we would see more relevant ideas here as well. Okay. But you do want more if you're going to play the keyword game, which again, that's not how, we did the 400,000 in ad spend on AdWords a couple years ago or a year and a half ago. It was not through doing keywords. It was through actually topics that were interesting in cross sections. But if you're going to do it, you really want about 10 to 15. Anyways, we'll go with healthy dog for now because I don't want to sit here and ramble all day. But I think ad groups are worth thinking about and really get into the mind of who your customer is. Like, who is that person? Who is the person that buys organic dog food? What do they do? All right, so, and then we do a headline here. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and just fill this out quickly. Just whip this up quickly, but listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Sales copy is extremely important when you're writing ad copy. It's also extremely important when you're writing sales copy on a website, when you're actually making the website copy. I've tested this. It is insane what the headline of an ad or the headline of a sales page of a website, how much of a huge difference it takes. All right, guys, so now we're venturing a little bit into sales copy, but listen, sales copy is super important. No one likes to talk about copywriting, right? Like it's not fun, it's not sexy, I get it. But, the things you write, even the huge guru style people out there that act like they don't care about this stuff, Gary Vaynerchuk, like they focus on it, right? There are some selection of words that are just going to convert so much higher than other selection of words that if you don't get good at that, it gets hard to write great ads, to do great social media, and to have really high converting sales pages. And that's something I've learned over time. So here's a quick one here. If, again, we're trying to sell organic dog food, want your dog to be healthy. A healthy dog starts with a healthy lifestyle. Here's how. All right, so a few things here. I'm going to walk you through this. This is not a copywriting course, but I want you guys to understand a little bit how this works, okay? So first off, asking questions is really big. It stops people in their tracks because they feel like they have to answer the question. Like if I say, hey, do you want your dog to be healthy? Like if I, came up to you and you didn't know me and I asked you that, versus if I said, dogs are great, right? You're not going to respond to that. But if I ask you a specific question, do you have a dog? Do you want your dog to be healthy? It requires something back from you. So that's really big with writing sales copy. Questions typically work very well. So then a healthy dog starts with a healthy lifestyle. Here's how. Now, the key part of this is here's how. All right. So a healthy dog starts with a healthy lifestyle. That's a great, feel good. Great. Yeah, I agree with you. That's cool. Here's how. Oh, wait, what do you mean? Like, do you know something I don't know? All right. So we're starting off here with a question that's like, hey, do you want your dog to be healthy? We get them thinking, of course I do. Okay. A healthy dog starts with a healthy lifestyle. Obviously, I agree with that. Here's how. Oh, okay. What is that? So you want to have the person who's reading your headline or your sales copy or anything having a communication with themselves during that whole time. And if you're talking just one way, and this is a huge mistake I see people do, if you're not having them interact with your copy, it's not going to convert. And this is why, it's really interesting in seeing people who are in markets similar to this, selling people products on how to build businesses, which is something I don't do. I mean, I built BuildBox, before that TV software, whatnot. But there's one thing I noticed. The ads that never have a lot of likes, but are most frequent, are people showing off like how much they spent on Facebook last month, or their SaaS monthly revenue, or whatever. And the reason is it's not, those type of things might be cool to that person. They might feel like, hey, look, check this out. Here's what I did. And then they post an ad about that. But it doesn't resonate with the crowd. It doesn't actually start a conversation internally. It doesn't have them bouncing back and forth with the copy, and it loses interest. So when you're writing copy, you have to understand it is all about the person reading the copy. You do not matter. You do not matter near as much as you think. And this really gets into detail when you're writing long-form sales copy to try to, explain a product to someone. The worst mistake you can ever make is thinking that you are actually important there. So you always talk directly to the consumer, directly to the person who's actually consuming that ad. So in this case, hey, do you want your dog to be healthy? Question mark. All right, I think about that. Of course I do. Yeah, you idiot. Right? A healthy dog starts with a healthy lifestyle. Here's how. All right, so what is that? All right, is your dog living its best life? Yeah, I mean, actually, I don't know, man. It depends. Well, these 4 ingredients matter more than anything else. What are you feeding your best friend? All right, so the whole focal point of this is like question, response. It's this back and forth, flow that we have. All right, so anyways, that's your 2-minute talk on sales copy. All right, so now my American Express card apparently is not up to date. So I'm going to go ahead and put this through real quick, and we'll go to the next section. Okay, so here we are. We have our new campaign. We can click on campaigns right here, and then go ahead and delete that. Because honestly, like I told you guys, I would never start with a search campaign. So what would I do? It's actually pretty simple. I would start off with Facebook only. I really like Facebook. I think their ad platform is absolutely amazing, and it's better for starting out campaigns. All right, and then I'd scale it to Google next, and I would wait until I was using a video ad, which will convert better than an image ad on Facebook if you have the right video. It's going to be tough. It's tough to make a great video, but if you do, then you have a chance to crush it by bringing it over to YouTube. So that's what I'm going to show you guys here. Yes, you can play around just like I showed you before with search campaigns and all that stuff. Hey, if any of it converts, awesome sauce. If you could see me, I got 2 thumbs up right now. That would be great, okay? But that's not going to be the focal point. You want to do image ads on Facebook, get moving. Then once you have a profitable campaign, start focusing on some video ads. Bring that video over here to Google. Now, here's the thing. Google, I'm going to be honest with you, I do not like the way that AdWords is set up as much. It's a little bit confusing. So we're going to click on campaigns here, and that's where we are. We're going to do a new campaign and click new. Now, again, our focus here is going to be sales, and then we want to do video. Then we're going to click continue. Now, doing video ads is really simple. Again, we're not using keywords. We're going to use topics. We'll get to that in a second. But you'll fill out all this information. It will be similar. A couple things, though. Let's see. When we get to, I would not do target CPA. I would do maximize conversions. All right. And let's see, they've changed it around. They change constantly, by the way. So if it looks a little bit different, I apologize. They change like every 5 seconds. If it ever asks you how much you want to spend per, which I'm glad they quit doing this. They took a page out of Facebook's notes. So Facebook doesn't make you say, hey, this is the max I want to pay per click or per view. And they used to do that here. And so what I would do is just put 4 cents per view or something like that. Usually it would come back at 1 cent per view. But thank God they got rid of that. If it ever comes back, usually I would start about 3 to 4 cents per view. CPM. And so that's what I would typically do. But I like the maximize conversion strategy that they're doing now, like Facebook. Again, this is something that came out very recently. I've been in Google and not long ago at all, and they were still not doing it this way. So that's great as long as that continues. Okay, now then networks. I do not do any partners. I just do YouTube to start off with. I wouldn't even do search results. I just want pre-rolls. That means, those videos you see where it's like 5 seconds, it forces you to watch the ad. By the way, when you're doing YouTube, you got to really capture their attention in those 5 seconds. A little bit different than Facebook. It's true on both platforms, but a little bit different. And one other huge tip with video, you always have to have subtitles. You either manually do it in the video or you have to have a subtitle file that is actually correct with that as well. You can Google it and see how to do that. It's not very difficult at all. Facebook actually automates the process, and YouTube does as well, so it's not a difficult thing. Then again, languages, I would actually do English. If your product and everything is in English, that makes a lot of sense. Countries starting out, United States would be, whatever's working on Facebook, you'd bring that over. A lot of times, again, I do start with just US, Canada, Australia, UK, depending on the product, though. Really vastly depends on the product. Now, in inventory type here, this is a new one as well. Let's see, expanded. No, you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to do limited. You want to go standard. This has actually been around for a while. They're just showing it in a different way. So this is like sites that would have, or videos that would have excessive profanity, graphic sexual content. You don't want to do that, right? So standard, I think, is good there. Then, of course, you do your ad group name as well. Demographics, really, really important, okay? Super important here. Again, so male, female, I always keep unknown because it's just a large amount of traffic you can miss out on. Male, female, if you know your market very well and it's female-centric or male-centric, then definitely isolate the other one. I mean, that's important. Age, again, with BuildBox, we do convert in the 18 to 24 range. If I could narrow it down, I might start at 20 or something like that. But you might want to take that off if you're testing up. You should have some data from this from Facebook because you're bringing that campaign kind of over. Parental status for the products I sell don't matter. Of course, it can be very important. And then the household income, sometimes I'll take out the lower 50% to see how it does on conversions. But that's usually about it. Then audiences. All right. So here, this is pretty interesting. We can actually see different audiences. We can see their interest, if they're interested in food and dining and stuff like that. You can even do a custom one. All right. So you can have a list of URLs or places or something like that you can set up yourself. This is something we had success with. I would not mix and match though. So I wouldn't do audiences and then do keywords and then topics. I would not do that. So I would have this ad group right here. Sorry for that fast scroll. Would be audiences. And then I would do my dog food audiences. Are these people going to be interested in do-it-yourselfers or whatnot? All right, and dog food, organic dog food's a pretty narrow one, right? I mean, obviously, like with BuildBox, we did video games. With TV software, it was TV. In the information product business, it was everything, had many different information products. I mean, even this right here, what you guys purchased with this book, if I was going to be on YouTube, which we probably will, I would focus on people who were interested in technology, technophiles. I found that typically kind of falls within within what I teach, right? And then also, I'd look at banking and finance, probably do some avid investors. I think that's a crossover as well. And I'd go through each and every one of these and check it out. Now, this was not a huge win for us, but it was something that did convert well for a little while. And so again, I would not add these. I'm going to show you topics here. Okay, because that was the huge win for us. And this was like the medium win. And then keywords were not profitable. Okay, so with the topics here, again, it's the same way you want to look through. And this is going to be much more narrowed down. And what you'll do is you want to find things that are relative. Now, We Got is out there, quote unquote, for the video game niche is going for people who like sci-fi, because you can think about Comic-Con and this kind of stuff. People that are interested in comics and sci-fi also typically kind of like video games. That's about as broad as we would get. So it wasn't like we did not even test home and gardening or stuff like that. And book retailers was not one. We did do fan fiction, right? Because that's more in the geeky subculture of video game culture, right? So you want to think about the culture of your customer and then add all the topics you think are relevant. And you'll see pretty quickly which ones are converting and which ones are not. This was the huge win. This is where I would say 90% of the traffic went to, 10% to audiences. Also we did a lot of retargeting as well. So I'm not even including that in this. And the way that works, just so you know, with retargeting, you want to put the Google Pixel and the Facebook Pixel not just on the conversion page, but on all the pages so you can retarget those people. That's really good. And you want to send, when you retarget people, if you don't know what that means, let me explain real quick. So retargeting is someone that's been to your website before. It puts a cookie on their computer. Then it knows that they've been there before. And then next time they're on Google or next time they're on Facebook, it will show an ad. That's why sometimes you go and you click on something and then you see it everywhere. Maybe you saw a dress or an outfit or something that you like. You click on it and then you see that exact pair of pants all over the internet. That's called retargeting. It's not that they're advertising like crazy. They just track that you had clicked something and showed some interest in a product, so they're showing that to you over and over and over. That's a great strategy as well that we use after we have successful campaigns. For your retargeting strategy, you want to do that both on YouTube and on Facebook, and you also want to have a specific campaign set up for that. So a new landing page, you don't send them just to your homepage, right? You want to actually have, hey, look, we've seen you've been interested in this, maybe a video where you're explaining that, talking more in depth about the product. These are people who are kind of on the fence. So we want to actually go ahead and close them and get them interested in the product. All right, so then YouTube video. So it's really simple. If you do a video ad, you just upload it to YouTube. You make it unlisted so people can't see it. And then, you just paste it there and boom, that's it. Now, the interesting thing about this is you'll get a ton of views. you're going to get a ton of views on your video. So I would actually make it live so people can see you have this video that's kind of popular, potentially going viral or whatnot. And we've seen some ads obviously do that in the past. Okay, so that's how to use Google. It's really, really simple. Again, I don't come over here until I found a successful video ad with Facebook. I do think if you've hit a wall and you've had some conversions, yeah, sure, test out display, test out search. Some people crush it with those. My personal experience, I haven't, but I've also found that you have to constantly test. If you're having success on Facebook and you're profitable and you're spending money and actually making more, then test all of it. Why the hell wouldn't you? So I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but this is what has worked for me after testing all of it. Because we did. We tested display. We tested search. We tested everything. We tested carousel images on Facebook, every single thing. So I'm showing you guys, again, copy, paste. Here's what worked for me. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't test stuff if you're having success, because who knows? Maybe your thing will be a little bit different. Maybe your market's a little bit different. Maybe they react a little bit different. I've seen that as well. All right, guys, so that's obviously Google and Facebook, my two favorite ones. Honestly, that's going to provide the best value for you, no question, because of the controversially, because of all the data that they actually have on everyone. That's why they convert better than anyone else. No one can really compete with them on that. But if you get into a situation where you're like, look, I really want to scale out, then that's something you can do as well. And this is what, there's companies out there that are fully focused on this, on scale. It definitely happens. You have a hot product, you will definitely want to reach more people. So Reddit.com, they have a self-serving ad platform now, top 10 website in the world. I love Reddit. I'm on there constantly, more than Facebook or Twitter or anything else, Instagram, etc. Now, they have I've advertised on there as well. They have a very interesting customer group. All right. So they're volatile. They're not easy to deal with. So definitely you want to make ads that kind of that cater to them, but also aren't cheesy. Like, they do not like cheesy ads. They like, if you do a meme that's like from a year ago or something like that, they will kill you. Snapchat as well. They have an ad platform. It is expensive though. That's expensive to jump in only if you have scale. But it does convert really well from what I've heard. If you have a great converting offer. TikTok as well. I've heard a lot of people are moving over to them, just like Snapchat. And then native ads. All right, native ads are like Outbrain. If you've been on CNN.com or MSNBC or any of the news sites, you'll see like other stories or promoted ads that kind of look like their other stories. Those are called native ads. Outbrain's a big company. Taboola is another really big company. I've had success with those before in the past as well. Email drops. So there's multiple companies out there that will email their list. I know some people that do well with it, but the issue is it's hard to scale because it really depends on whoever they blast out an email to, right? So there'll be a bunch of companies out there that have these enormous email lists, and then they're signed up there and they have ads in the emails that go out daily. Maybe it's like, some tech stuff or something like that, like techupdates, .com or something. And they have an email list of 3 million people. That one is hit or miss, but I know some people who've done really well with it, so it's worth keeping in mind. The final one is pop-ups. This is not as big as it was 10 years ago, but there's still some companies out there that do this. You can Google around and find it. I'll put it last for a reason. It's kind of like the bottom of the barrel internet traffic, to be honest with you. And this would be like when someone's on a website, something pops under or on top or something like that, and it could be your offer. Obviously, that's super annoying and a little bit scammy. So this is not something I'd really jump into. I doubt there'd be a situation you'd really be like, you know what? To really just hit these numbers, we got to get into pop-ups. But it is out there and it does work. And I do know people who actually do it successfully. So keep that in mind as well. It's last for a reason, but it does actually work. And I think Rev Content is one of the biggest people out there doing that. All right, guys. So that's how to run traffic. This is super important stuff. Really important. The lifeblood of your business. Without traffic, you have nothing, right? And the only thing I didn't really mention on here is SEO. And I'm going to tell you why. I do know some tricks about SEO, and we rank really high. If you type "make game," you're going to see like BuildBox is up there. The biggest thing, and I'll just close it out with this: SEO just takes so much time, and it's all about getting quality backlinks. The reason we rank number one for best or how to make a game, or how to make your game, or something like that, we're like number one for some of those, number 5 for some of those, and it's helped. We get tons of traffic and sales from that. But the reason is because Microsoft actually linked to us about a product that we made, or a promotion rather, that was make your own game. Now, listen, I came up with this, and you can type make your own game and see this. I came up with the idea to do a promotion called Make Your Own Game. And it's buildbox.com/make your own game. And make -your-own-game. /. And I did that for the specific reason of SEO. So the one tip I can give you on SEO is do promotions that you think and make specific pages for them, have a bunch of content, have videos. We had 10 videos, 2,000 words written, everything about this huge promotion, make your own game promotion, right? We can call it promotion, right? But on email, on social media, everything, it was make your own game. And that got picked up, and some people actually talked about that. And then now we rank number 1 for make your own game, and again, top 5 for really competitive terms. So it does work. SEO does work, but it took 5 years to really get it going for us. So it's just a really slow process. And then what I also found is if you just put out a lot of good content and you just do stuff right, like it just kind of happens. Like I would, the one thing is I would keep in mind what you're naming things. Name them keyword-centric things that people are searching for, like we did with Make Your Own Game. All right, that's, the Make Your Own Game series was chosen because of that, and it did work, and we crushed SEO on it. But it wasn't like, if the reason I wouldn't tell you to go do that as your strategy, and the reason I would tell you never to go buy an SEO course, is because if Microsoft and these top tier people out there, I think PocketGamer.biz linked to us, like we got some pretty good reactions on that. It was just good timing, and we got reactions. If that wouldn't have happened, then it would not have worked as well for us. So it's not like, Facebook and even Reddit ads and stuff like that. It's kind of 1 + 1 = 2. SEO is kind of like N + Y = X. Good luck, So, but I would definitely keep in mind the same with your YouTube videos. We've done well on YouTube as well. And that's been a huge driver of sales. And again, I think about every video that I made that I put up there. I think about the title. I think about if it's going to be catchy, if it's going to be keyword centric, stuff that people are thinking. So copywriting ends up being important for SEO when you're thinking about what people are going to click on and what they're going to be searching for. All right, so that does actually matter. But at the same time, I wouldn't make it my primary strategy. All right, guys, so that's how to scale with ads. I do think advertising is much better than natural traffic. I think natural traffic will come if you're good at advertising and you create a big company. The truth is the reason BuildBox has great SEO is because we're the largest no-code game development software. So it's, that's what should happen at that point. So I'd let the SEO stuff come naturally. All right, guys, thanks a lot. Appreciate you watching this video. Let's check out the next one.